As soon as everything calms down, the it can get loud in our heads, way too loud. We've all been there. I was in bed and looked up at the ceiling, stuck in a loop of never-ending thoughts about what went wrong today and what this could be a very tiring day tomorrow. Oh good, you're not the only one going through this. Cerebral marathon thinking too much is like having an itchy spot that you can't remove, can keep you from sleeping at night and your peace during the day. But what if I told you there's a way to stop talking those distracting thoughts? Today, we go deep. Stoicism, an old way of thinking, a theory that is still useful today. A very long time ago, this isn't just about past ideas, it's about real tools that can help us live a calmer, more focused life. So are you sick of having your mind go off to stay with me while I talk about how to control what these tried and true methods can do for us? In our crazy world, we need peace and clarity. If you like what we're doing here and have a desire to learn more, like these, please do me a small favor for free and click that button that says subscribe, and trust me, you won't want to skip any of this. Every second of the video is worth watching. To help you calm down your mind, lesson 1, do something over study. You know those times when you're just thinking about nothing, having a lot of what-ifs and maybes, and hours have gone by, somehow slipped by, and you've gotten, that's what we're going after here, nowhere. A strong cure for sadness is taught by Stoicism. Too much study has led to this paralysis. Putting action ahead of endless thought. Take a look at the Stoic teacher Marcus, who said the secret of all. The key to victory is how well it was clear that Marcus wasn't just about, he was about to think things through, doing things that really matter. So, how can we use this? It starts with realizing that motion moves by nature. We move forward while overthinking often keeps us from moving. Have you ever seen that when you finally choose to, if you move forward even a little, it feels like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders. Since action frees you, it breaks the chains of doubt and putting things off. Here is a story from my own life. Had this project idea I spent for weeks just planning it out. I can remember everything, but guess what? It didn't go anywhere because I was too. As I tried to make it perfect, I was stuck in analysis. Paralysis is as soon as I started to act, even small things like writing down some take notes or talk about the idea with a friend, things began to change. It wasn't ideal, but it was progress for the Stoics. Thought we had control over what we did, but focus on the result was not always the case. This is what we can do right now, trying to keep track of everything. What could happen in the future here? Honest, impossible. Everything you do teaches. You learn new things when you try new things, and yes, new tasks every now and then. Move all the time. Every step you take is an opportunity to learn and change and make changes. Here's something else to feel free to use action feeds. Trust that every time you act, you prove to yourself that you can get past your fears, you gain speed, and what seemed impossible starts all of a sudden to look pretty doable. In a lot of people talk about Stoicism. Nature-based life is it makes sense to learn and grow from what we don't, just base it on what we think. So what small thing can you do today? It's calling that number. You've been ready to send an email, but just setting up your office doesn't. Tiny steps don't have to be a big jump. The important thing is to keep going. Don't let your thoughts stop you. As Seneca said, it's not because it is so hard that we don't dare do it. We don't dare say that they are tough. By adopting the Stoic way of we empower by putting action over theory. We can live fuller lives with courage and a clear mind of let's carry out those plans. Do something and things will happen. You'll be shocked at how much more you can do when you stop thinking too much. You're not that busy with lesson 2. Unique idea that comes straight from the Stoic principles, especially those from Marcus Aurelius, who often came back to his exercises to keep his pride in check. He wrote, "You could end your life right now. What you do and say should depend on that," and feel this was a warning to pay attention on what's important without getting caught up in how important they are, being aware that you're not that something unique and good. Well, it's how to understand that the world doesn't revolve around what we do as much as we think. Most people are too busy taking care of their own lives to worry too much about what. When we do this, it changes the game. You fully understand it because it means you don't think too much about how your sense of have you ever been hesitant to post something online since you were not sure what other people would think, or you might not have wanted to start something new. You should work on a project or look for a job because you're afraid of being criticized or failing. Everyone will see you and judge you. Here's a serious wake-up call for most people. After a few days, they won't even remember it. Everyone is too busy getting around their own tough times. This doesn't imply it doesn't matter what you do or that you shouldn't try to be the best, but it does mean that you might be able to breathe a little less stressful, knowing that one mistake is not going to be the main focus of this idea. Helps everyone's attention to take off the mask that everyone keeping an eye on us and judging everything we do, which is an everyday trap that hunts over thought, and realizing that you have worry is freeing, isn't it? So you can live your life. Choice and even make a mistake now and then, and the world won't fall apart down. You can try things out to learn how to live without having to carry the heavy weight of constant scrutiny. And here's where Stoicism really helps us nail this idea down. It teaches us to be humble and how important it is to focus on getting better at yourself just for the sake of either for applause or fear of being criticized. Marcus Aurelius thought that people should live the life of being good and honest with yourself, not live for outside proof, so that the next time you find you think too much about how other people feel, might think about what you did remember. You're not that great at this lesson, the world's eyes, and that's a good thing, that you are free to live your more fully and honestly in life and without worrying too much about every little thing. The point of this decision isn't to diminish your worth. It's about having faith that the attention isn't always on you, and that's okay. Feel better and use that space to think about what really matters to you, to spend time with your real feelings and let the small things go. Don't worry if you liked our movie. Leave a review and subscribe so that YouTube is aware that this kind of material helps. We can keep going as long as people like you making more movies like this. If you don't know what to say in the future, just write tick and tell me to show that. You have gone beyond our lesson. Lesson 3. Comparison steals joy when we always look at ourselves, other people, whether it's their wins, how they look, or even how they use social media. We set ourselves up for posts. Unhappy, it's like we're keeping track of how much our lives are worth compared to a yardstick that changes all the time based on who we're judging ourselves against. For a while, the Stoics were big on concentrating on things we can control and definitely not in our people's lives. Control Epicus famously said, pay attention to what you can handle and what you don't. It's not possible when you use your energy. Focusing on other people wastes that valuable resource, your attention, on what you can't change. Or let me paint you a picture of, I want you to picture yourself having a really good morning. You're proud of what you've done, no matter how big or small. Small, you go to Instagram or Facebook, and all of a sudden you see something else's highlight. Real holidays are perfect. Homes, accomplishments. All of a sudden your own wins do not feel as important anymore. That's the trap of when we compare what the Stoics teach us to base our sense of self-worth on our own values and growth that are not the same as others. This isn't just about how you feel. Better, it's about a big change it's how we see happiness and success. about proving yourself internally instead of exterior. When you follow this rule, you change your point of view from personal growth to competition. You feel free when you stop comparisons. You start to value your own journey with all of its ups and downs. You start to see how special your life is. Road, not a race against other people. L's milestones. This way of thinking lets you to enjoy your own successes without the shape of someone else's accomplishments that turn down your light. If you can teach yourself to change your thought about things in terms of, by thinking about yourself, you'll find that joy will start to come more easily to you. Take time to appreciate the good things in your life and not feel the need to stack them up against anyone else's. So the next, whenever you feel like you're going toward the compare everything, step back and remember yourself, that your worth is not set by how you compare to other people, but by living your life in line with your own ideas and work to change that, putting your focus back on your own goals. And trust me, this is a game share in beating overthinking and really getting happy in your own unique way. Part 4 of the journey. Perfection is a myth. The search for perfection can be never-ending drive that sadly leads not for more success, but for more being unhappy and unable to act when we set impossible goals for ourselves. Every mistake or failure can feel like a big deal, like a terrible loss. It's a recipe for long-term stress. And thinking too much about the Stoics really got this, they taught us, which was trying to be great in the usual sense of perfect and whole, is not only not possible, but also too much. Seneca, to put it this way, minds suffer more often than bodies. He was really getting at the idea that our search for a made-up state of we're much more stressed out by perfection, rather than the real flaws in life. Just think about how often that happens. Has getting something been a pain for you? Just right, only to find out that the work was making you more stressed than the end result. Justified Stoicism urges us to accept not seeing flaws as flaws, but as an important part of being human. By accept that we are naturally flawed, we can free ourselves from the we are tied down by impossible demands that we lead to endless cycles of thinking. Too much about this doesn't mean we shouldn't try to get better or grow. Quite in the opposite, it means that we see improvement as a process that never ends and full of things I've learned from slip-ups and mistakes. Imagine if you could learn a new skill or start a new job with the mind that mistakes aren't just what you expected but are actually useful. You'd be much more eager to start. Something new to come up with and use. Risks. This is the freedom that is being turned down. The idea of perfection gives us the conservative way of life, teaches us that every being flawed is a chance to learn. Marcus Aurelius wrote the thing that was stopping action moves movement forward. What stands in the way changes into the way he tells us to go. That the problems, those flaws and backward steps aren't just problems to overcome, they are important parts of the journey that makes us grow. And as we go on, let's try to get better, to shift our attention. Instead of looking for ideals, let's strive for progress. Happy birthday to the tiny wins and the big ones. You know that every step forward is important. Let's learn to see there is beauty in the broken, because it is the flaws that make us unique. Our lives are full of real events, real. Let go of the myth of try to be perfect, and you'll see that not only are you cutting down on overthinking, it also makes a whole new world of chances where growth is a pleasure. Allowed Lesson 5, your feelings are not yours. Indeed, it's simple to be swept away by our thoughts, but it's important to remember that how we feel affects what we do. Don't always show the truth of our The lessons of Stoicism teach us that even though feelings are a normal part of our human experience, shouldn't tell us what to do, choices we make or how we see the world. This thought has its roots in the Stoic thinkers taught things like Marcus Aurelius, who told us to take a step back and look at our impressions. We should ask ourselves if they are based on fact or if we're letting our feelings get in the way. Make up our minds, he famously said. Control your mind, not the outside world. Events know this, and you'll find strength. When was the last time feelings too strong for you? Maybe you were scared about a big meeting or angry because of a fight with a friend. During those times, our feelings can feel taking over as if they define our whole truth. But here's the thing. As time goes on, feelings come and go, and they can trick us into underestimating how important what, at the moment, we're feeling this stern. You don't have to hold back more about not letting your feelings get in the way. Let them rule you. It's about you can detach yourself to a certain level. Recognize how you feel without letting them cloud your judgment is what the Stoics really mean. It's about being good and having a good life, taking on life's problems instead of letting your feelings guide you. So, let's say you're really sad. You didn't get a job, so talk to for the first emotional. One answer could be to believe you're not good enough, or you'll never find a job you love. But if you step back and use your brain, you might see that this refusal might be a chance to look at other choices or places where you can improve. You're getting better at interviews by not letting your initial feelings shape your world. You let more in. Constructive and effective ways to go practice. This can begin with just the next time you feel like if you feel upset, take a deep breath and think about what my response is based on. Truth or my understanding is there another way to look at this? This often, just taking a moment, can keep you from going down a bad path. Overthinking and help you get things more often. Epictetus taught us that it's logical. It's not the events that bother me, not them, but how we see them. So by our point of view, by asking the truth of our emotional reactions, we can change the good and bad things in our lives and downs, but that doesn't mean we shrug off our taking care of your thoughts in a certain way that gives us the wisdom to answer and clarity lesson. 6. Take a break from Stoicism teaches us that no matter what happens, a lot of our pain comes from we hold on tight to results we can't change. Do not forget what the Stoics stand for, telling the difference between what's in charge and what's outside of it, and while we can change results that we can't change. Fully control them, Epictetus famously said that we can change some things, and some people don't see this simple truth at the heart that is calm and strong. Think when you work on a project or having a personal goal can help you in many ways. Focused only on the result, a small loss can feel like a big one. This obsession can lead to a terrible outcome, stress and sadness all the time, because to be honest, we just can't because of different factors. Guess or control. But what if you changed your focus from what would happen to the work itself to picture the freedom and happiness in knowing that your self-worth isn't based on how well you do of what you did, as well as the quality and purpose of this is what it means to separate from outcomes. It's not that they don't care, it's not about success. Set by them, let's use this to something real. Like beginning anew, if you focus on a diet or exercise plan, focusing only on losing a certain amount of weight in a certain amount of time, you're setting yourself up to be angry, and instead of possible failure, if you focus on making better food choices, or if you're loving your workouts, you pay attention to the process, you begin to appreciating the daily gains. These are direct to your energy and mood, effects of what you do, things you can. It's then easier to keep the weight off. Good side effect. Not the only, how big this tough way of thinking helps build success. being resilient when results aren't the end goal. Less damage is done to everything. It's scary that they're just part of the journey, chances to learn and grow. Change this way of thinking leads to a more long-lasting drive because it's built on what you're doing now, not in a faraway goal that might be hard to reach. Besides, separating from results lets to pay more attention and be present in the job at hand. It makes because you're trying to improve your ability. The movement not being hampered by worry. In the end, this can lead to better outcomes, which is funny because when you work from a place not fear, but engagement and being yourself. So let's try again as we move forward. To put this into action, pay attention to your steps for life according to your morals and do your best in every one of them. Moment. Trust that this will lead to the things will work out on their own. In any case, keep in mind that Marcus Aurelius only said, do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter. It's just a freedom-giving way to live, and it stops you from thinking too much and not needed. Lesson 7. Focus on the present is all you. It's simple to get caught up in. You feel bad about the past or worried about what will happen, but Stoicism teaches us that the only real time we can change is what kind of person is Marcus Aurelius now? Someone who supported this idea wrote, confine. Take yourself to the present and see what he's telling us is simple but deep. Importantly, the past can't be changed and the future is unknown, but the present is clear, is where we live and what we think about. How often do you think about it could be what's been or what's coming, going over a fight you had last week or worrying about something coming up? By the due date, these ideas aren't just, they are annoying, draining, and pull, getting you out of the here and now, your ability to pay attention to what you're in fact doing and lowering your taking on effectiveness and happiness. Being in the present moment means actively concentrating on the present moment. This doesn't mean you should ignore don't learn from the past or make plans for the future. It means that you don't let those things get in the way. What your present experience is all about, keeping awareness in check and not letting one feature that takes away from one more time. Let's say you're out with friends, having fun with a friend, but you're practicing a talk. For work for tomorrow, by not being fully present, don't enjoy the depth of the interaction, and strangely enough, you're also not helping. You get ready very much as focus that is spread out rarely leads to good results. But if you consciously choose to spend time with your friend fully, you make that situation better, and a lot of the time, your mind is clearer and better ready when the time comes. To pay attention to your work. Being present can begin with something like as easier as taking mindful breaths whenever your thoughts keep going back to the past. Or to look ahead to the future, take a few deep breaths and take a look around. What you see, hear, smell, and touch the ground below you, the air on your skin. This isn't just about your feet. Getting physically grounded is what it's all about. Being reminded that life takes place in the now. The tough task of mindfulness and being there also makes people grateful. Being fully present makes you more likely to enjoy the little things and wins that you might not have otherwise. Don't forget, this can lead to a deeper thanks for your life the way it is, as you want it to be, or fear it will be. Could turn into, so let's try to bringing our attention back to the present whenever we see it going off track. Remember, every second you worry about that you can't go back or forward in time. Present is your truth. The show is on, which you can do, Marcus Aurelius told us, to live a full and active life in the act instead of simply being present. People who are changing our lives. By living in the present moment by moment, we accept life as it is. We can handle worry. Better enjoy our events. More and feel at peace with your life that comes from being sure we're living, not just being there. This is a strong lesson in Stoicism that not only overthinking, but it makes our whole let's enjoy our lives to the fullest right now. That's all we really have, and that's it. As we look at how Stoic knowledge can change the way we live and think, remember that you get to choose every time. Being aware and present is a step toward to a fuller life. Thank you for Socrates told me to tell everyone. Your help and participation are really thanks. If you found value in what we talked about today, please take a look at one. From the list of videos shown on the screen to keep going on your path to Stoicism. Being there and getting involved mean the world. To us, until the next time, live fully and think carefully.